Okay, let's jump right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive, truly life-changing concept straight from the insights of the growth paradox. And why is this specific framework such a game changer? Well, because it completely flips the script on how we process failure. It takes failure from being a dead end and turns it into a launch pad. I want to start off by speaking directly to you right now. Let's just be real for a second and acknowledge that, yeah, you might have been knocked down. Maybe life hit you way harder than you ever saw coming. You failed, you made mistakes, and honestly, maybe for a while there it felt like you were never going to bounce back. But listen to me very closely. Your story is definitely not over yet. It is time for your comeback.
So right out of the gate, we're faced with a pretty intense challenge. Are you going to let your past define who you are? You've got to make a rock-solid decision today to stop looking in the rearview mirror at what went wrong, and you have to absolutely let go of those regrets. The reality is, the past is done. You can't change it. And actually, dwelling on it just traps your brain in a constant stress response. It paralyzes you. But the good news? You have 100% control over what happens next.
Which leads us to this incredibly crucial reframe. From this exact second forward, this new chapter of your life, it's called your comeback. And here's the thing, a comeback isn't just about crawling back to where you were before things fell apart. That's a super common misconception. It's actually about looking yourself dead in the eye in the mirror, deciding that enough is finally enough, and rising up smarter, stronger, and with this absolute fire inside you that nobody can put out. We are talking about a total top-to-bottom reinvention of who you are.
Right now, you're staring down a fork in the road. It's a binary choice. On one side, you can just sit there and self-pity, play it small, and watch the world pass you by. Or on the flip side, you can take control and fight. You can take all that pain, all those brutal setbacks and massive disappointments, and consciously decide to use them as fuel. When experts look at the psychology behind post-traumatic growth, they find that the people who actually thrive after a huge hit don't just ignore their pain, they actively use it. Every tear, every sleepless night, all of it can be harnessed to drive you forward harder than you ever thought possible. But to actually pull that off, you've got to internalize a really profound truth. You are not your past. You are not your failures. And you are certainly not your fears. It is time to just wipe away all that doubt and totally silence the fear. You know those external voices, the ones telling you that you aren't good enough, or that it's too late for you, or that your messy track record somehow dictates your future? They do not decide your destiny. Only you do. Okay, so how do we actually turn all this motivation into a real boots-on-the-ground journey? Well, a comeback isn't just some magical overnight leap. It really boils down to 4 distinct steps. First, you take that initial step. Second, you show up consistently. Third, you push through the inevitable resistance. And fourth, you flat out refuse to quit. Make no mistake, doing this is going to intensely test your willpower, your discipline, and your resilience. It's not going to be easy, but breaking the whole thing down into these 4 core pillars keeps you from getting totally overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the change you're trying to make. Now, you're going to have to weigh 2 completely different types of pain against each other. You've got the pain of discipline, and then you've got the pain of regret. Pushing forward and sticking to those 4 steps we just talked about, yeah, that might be deeply, deeply uncomfortable. It forces you completely out of your comfort zone. And that brings a very real, almost physical sensation of friction. But remember, that pain is temporary. Throwing in the towel, though, walking away just because it got hard, that leaves you with this lingering, dull ache of regret that literally lasts forever. So where does all this discipline actually happen? It happens in what we call the unseen hours. We're talking about those brutal early mornings when the rest of the world is still fast asleep, the late nights when everybody else has clocked out and logged off. It hits you when you are so exhausted you can barely keep your eyes open, and it definitely happens when absolutely no one believes in what you're trying to build. Real success? It's built in absolute silence during these specific moments. It's in the tedious, boring work that nobody claps for, and the massive, lonely sacrifices that nobody ever talks about. Because let's be real, champions are not made in comfort. They are built in the fire. Every single time you stare down a challenge and push through that heavy resistance during those unseen hours, you aren't just surviving the day, you are literally rewiring your brain. From a neuroplasticity standpoint, voluntarily stepping into hardship builds brand new neural pathways. It physically thickens your prefrontal cortex, which basically upgrades your brain's ability to handle future stress. By facing this adversity, you are forging yourself into something completely unstoppable.
Let's bring this right down to earth for a second. Let's look at the absolute most basic level of your day. What actually happens tomorrow morning when that alarm goes off?
Because your comeback isn't some grand, sweeping dream or a wish you make on a shooting star. It's a highly practical, totally unglamorous decision that you have to make every single day, starting the exact second you wake up. This is literally where the rubber meets the road. In that split second when the alarm blares, you're immediately faced with a choice. You can either hit snooze, stay exactly the same, and let the heavy weight of your past keep you pinned to the mattress, or you can get up and take action. You have to actively choose. Are you going to stay stuck in that same old cycle of fear and doubt, or are you going to grind every single day to turn your pain into real, actionable power? Honestly, that 5-minute snooze button, that is the very first battlefield of your comeback. And man, it doesn't just stop with the alarm clock. All throughout your day, when things inevitably go sideways, because they will, that binary choice pops right back up. Complain and quit, or find a way to push forward. Think about any of the greats who defied the odds in business, or sports, or science. They absolutely did not have it easy, and they definitely didn't have a frictionless, perfect path. They just made this relentless, stubborn choice to problem solve instead of panic. They never let their external circumstances dictate their internal drive.
And there's this profound psychological shift that happens when you start making that relentless choice. The more you push, the stronger you become. It's this incredible compounding effect. It's honestly exactly like earning compound interest in a bank account. Every time you face a fear, instead of running away from it, your baseline level of courage ticks up a notch. The more you refuse to quit, the more unstoppable you become. You're building up this undeniable mountain of proof to yourself that you can handle hard things.
Let's zoom out for a second and try a little thought exercise. Think about your future legacy. Fast forward 1 year from today, then 5 years, then 10 years. Where are you standing? When you look back on this exact period of your life, are you going to be proud of the choices you made today? Or will you be sick with regret that you didn't take action when you had the chance? Adopting this long-term perspective changes the game entirely. It strips away all the temporary, annoying discomfort of today and forces you to confront the long-term reality of your actions.
Which brings us to a pretty heavy question. Are you going to be haunted by what if? Look, there will always be reasons to quit. There will always be these beautifully crafted excuses, perfectly disguised as valid logic, just waiting for you to use them. But there is one massive, undeniable reason to keep going. The future version of you. The one who actually made it, the one who conquered the struggle and achieved the goal. They are waiting for you to put in the work today.
To actually get to that future version of yourself, you need to understand one absolute golden rule. You do not need permission to rise. Nobody is coming to save you. No one's going to just hand you the life you want on a silver platter, and absolutely no one can unlock your potential for you. You've got to take full, radical responsibility for your future right here, right now. The gatekeepers are gone. The only thing holding you back at this point is your own hesitation. You have to take that responsibility right now. Because guess what? Your best days are absolutely not behind you. They're ahead of you. You were never meant to stay down, and you were definitely never meant to live in the shadows of your regrets. You were built to win. All that past experience, even the absolute worst failures, it was just practice. It was preparation. This entirely new chapter you're writing right now is called redemption, and it starts the very moment you decide to own your path.
Really let this sink in. You are a creator. You are actively shaping your future and building your legacy in this exact moment. By stepping up and finally taking action, you are completely separating yourself from the vast majority of people out there who just sit around wishing for success, but never actually put in the sweat to get it. You're shifting from being just a passive consumer of whatever life throws at you into the active architect of your own reality. So the ball's in your court. The choice is yours. And it really just comes down to 3 non-negotiables. No more excuses, no more delays, and no more doubts. Deep down, you know you've always been ready for this. You literally have all the tools you need right now. So stand tall, look your challenges directly in the eye, and take back your power. Because once you fully commit to this path, there is absolutely no turning back. You are the one who is going to defy the odds and make the impossible happen. So, the only question left for you is this. What do you want your future to look like? Are you finally ready to go out there and make your comeback happen? The world is waiting to see you rise. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Now get out there and get to work.